Hold on to your seats, because what you're about to hear isn't just another celebrity gossip story, it's a full-blown courtroom apocalypse. Imagine this. J.D. Vance, calm and calculating, publicly denies paternity of Erika Kirk's so-called miracle child, and suddenly, the name Mikey McCoy hits the spotlight like a bombshell detonating in slow motion. Yes, you heard that right. Mikey McCoy, a man whose presence in Erika's life has been whispered about for weeks, is now officially summoned to court. But wait, how did we get here? How does a seemingly private scandal explode into a full-scale public meltdown, complete with panic, tears, and legal theatrics? And more importantly, who is really the father? The math doesn't just raise eyebrows, it shatters timelines. The public is spiraling, social media is on fire, and everyone's asking the same question. Was this carefully crafted drama, or has Erika Kirk finally met her match in J.D. Vance's unyielding strategy? From courtroom tension to leaked screenshots, every single moment is a ticking time bomb. Stick around, because what you're about to see isn't just gossip, it's an unraveling of secrets, lies, and a scandal that could rewrite everything you thought you knew about these players. Are you ready? It all began on a day that would go down in social media history as one of the most jaw-dropping, teeth-gritting, cannot-believe-it moments in recent celebrity court drama. Court summons Mikey McCoy. Yes, Mikey McCoy, the man whose name has been whispered, hinted at, and outright avoided in every hot take about Erika Kirk's so-called miracle pregnancy. The reason? None other than J.D. Vance, cool as ice, standing in a courtroom that smelled of tension, injustice, and the faint scent of panic, publicly denying any connection to Erika Kirk's child. And if you thought the internet could handle this without exploding, think again. Because when J.D. Vance's voice echoed across that wood-paneled courtroom, it wasn't just a denial, it was the opening salvo in a scandal that would send shockwaves across every timeline, feed, and gossip channel on the planet. Now, let's rewind for just a second, because the timeline here is important, and honestly, the math alone is enough to make anyone's head spin. Erika Kirk had confidently claimed she was carrying J.D. Vance's child, presenting herself to the public as the grieving widow who somehow found a miracle after tragedy. But here's the kicker. J.D. Vance, calm, composed, and deadly strategic, didn't just sit there and let the narrative slide. No, he scrutinized every claim, every date, every tear-streaked interview Erika had given in the past weeks. And then, in front of the world, he demanded what would become the centerpiece of this unfolding drama, a DNA test. But not just any DNA test, one that would either confirm the truth or obliterate the story Erika had so carefully constructed. And that's where Mikey McCoy enters. For weeks, anonymous sources, faceless investigators, and online sleuths had been piecing together his timeline. Photos here, late-night messages there, comments that seemed innocent but screamed otherwise. Mikey's shadowy presence in Erika's life had been almost laughably easy to track. And now, with the court officially summoning him, the quiet whispers and speculative tweets turned into full-blown hysteria. The social media storm didn't just gather momentum, it became a Category 5 hurricane of curiosity, suspicion, and outrage. Every celebrity gossip channel, every faceless journalist commentary, every viral TikTok was suddenly consumed with the same question. If JD isn't the father, then who is? And make no mistake, this wasn't just a story about paternity. No, this was about strategy, manipulation, public perception, and the very art of controlling a narrative that could make or break reputations in hours. But let's pause here and talk about Erika Kirk's performance leading up to the courtroom explosion. Because if you thought anyone could keep a straight face in a scandal of this magnitude, you clearly haven't watched Erika navigate the media circus. She had mastered the art of the grieving widow act. Tears, soft smiles, trembling hands, and just enough vulnerability to make anyone think, surely she's telling the truth. And the public? They lapped it up. Hashtags trended, opinion pieces popped up faster than anyone could track, and suddenly Erika was not just a celebrity figure. She was a symbol, a story, a headline machine. But headlines have deadlines, and the clock on Erika's carefully crafted narrative was ticking faster than she could control. Enter J.D. Vance, stage left. Cool, calculated, unflinching, and armed with a team that had been tracking every inconsistency in Erika's story. JD wasn't just responding. He was playing a game most people don't even realize exists in high-profile scandal management. Every silence from him was strategy. Every pause, every cold stare, every refusal to engage in the melodrama was a calculated move. And when he finally spoke in court, demanding the DNA test, it wasn't anger, it wasn't vengeance, it was clarity. Precision. The kind of surgical strike that doesn't just challenge a lie, it exposes it publicly without mercy. Meanwhile, Erika's reaction was textbook panic. Not grief, not confusion, not even sadness. It was pure, unfiltered fear. The kind that spreads through the room like wildfire, that makes everyone watching instinctively lean in closer. Hands shook, mascara ran, breaths came fast and ragged. It wasn't an act, it was an unraveling. Because in that split second, Erika realized that the very narrative she had spent weeks building, the story she had rehearsed in front of cameras and journalists, the miracle after tragedy that had captured public sympathy, was about to collapse under the weight of undeniable truth. And let's not forget Usha Vance, seated silently behind JD. The removal of her wedding ring, a small gesture to the untrained eye, was a bombshell in its own right. It spoke volumes. Public tolerance for lies, manipulation, and chaos had reached its limit. And this small gesture? It signaled to Erika and the world that JD's household would not be compromised by anyone's false story. Now, here's where things start to get really juicy. Because it's one thing to hear about a DNA test, but it's another to witness the psychological gymnastics Erika pulled in real time. Every word she uttered seemed carefully chosen to maintain the illusion of innocence, but every move betrayed her panic. She avoided the questions that mattered. She dodged names. And when the single name that everyone had been whispering finally surfaced in court, Mikey McCoy, the effect was immediate and undeniable. Erika froze. Her eyes widened. Her hands clutched the table like it was the last lifeline in a sinking ship. And the crowd? Silent, tense, buzzing with anticipation, cameras rolling, recording every twitch, every gasp, every reaction. It was as if the entire world collectively held its breath, waiting for the unraveling that everyone knew was inevitable. Faceless journalists would later describe the scene as a masterclass in human panic under public scrutiny. Anonymous sources, claiming insider access to the courtroom, revealed that Erika's breathing accelerated to a near-frantic pace. The subtle shifting in her seat, the trembling fingers, the repeated glances around the room, all signs of someone who knew the walls of her narrative were closing in. Meanwhile, JD remained statuesque, expression unreadable, silence a weapon more powerful than any public statement Erika could make. And the public? Oh, the public lost it. Social media algorithms lit up like a Christmas tree. Clips went viral before the courtroom doors had even closed. Mikey McCoy summoned. JD Vance calls DNA test. Erika Kirk panics. The commentary was instantaneous, relentless, and merciless. This wasn't just gossip, it was a spectacle. And let's be real, this scandal wasn't born in a vacuum. Erika Kirk's history, public persona, and past incidents only added fuel to the fire. Lavish parties, rumors of secret rendezvous, strategic social media appearances, and carefully edited video clips. Everything in Erika's past contributed to the narrative that had now exploded in court. Every faceless journalist, every anonymous tipster, every curious observer had been waiting for a moment like this. And when it came, it didn't disappoint. The layers of intrigue, deception, and potential betrayal were so thick that you could practically slice through them with a knife. But here's the twist that makes this entire saga unforgettable. The very evidence JD's team had painstakingly gathered wasn't just about dates, messages, or digital receipts. No, it was about control, the control of truth, narrative, and consequence. Every timestamp, every screenshot, every subtle contradiction in Erika's story wasn't just ammunition, it was a ticking time bomb. And as court observers later described, the room itself seemed to respond to this tension. The air thickened, whispers rose, cameras zoomed, and every single person in attendance felt the gravity of what was happening. This was not just a paternity dispute. This was a public unmasking, a narrative demolition, a moment where celebrity gossip collided with legal strategy, and the fallout promised to be catastrophic. By the time part one of this scandal reached its first climax, the foundation for the rest of this explosive story was already set. Court summonses, public denials, panic-induced reactions, and the looming presence of Mikey McCoy created a pressure cooker that could only go one way, towards absolute chaos. And if you think this is where it stops, well, you're in for a wild ride, because the next chapter escalates everything you've already seen. From anonymous sources leaking evidence, to social media turning into a live trial, to J.D. Vance's unflinching strategy, Part 2 will push this scandal into territory that even seasoned gossip watchers couldn't have predicted. And just like that, the storm didn't simmer, it exploded. Part 2 of this scandal picks up exactly where the courtroom chaos left off, because if you thought Erika Kirk's meltdown and J.D. Vance's steely courtroom precision were the peak, you're about to realize you've been vastly underestimating the drama. The moment Mikey McCoy's name entered the conversation, the tension that had been simmering behind closed doors erupted into a full-blown public spectacle. Cameras flashed, whispers rippled across the courtroom, and social media users were practically drooling over the unfolding chaos. Every detail was scrutinized, every gesture analyzed, and every second of Erika's reaction dissected into viral clips that would haunt her online for months to come. Let's break down what happened next, because this isn't just gossip, it's a masterclass in scandal escalation. After the judge confirmed the summons for Mikey McCoy, Erika's panic reached levels that could only be described as cinematic. Hands shook, eyes darted, breaths came in rapid succession. Observers later noted that even her lawyers seemed momentarily stunned, unsure of how to contain the spectacle. And it wasn't just theatrics. It was the kind of fear that grips a person when the walls of a narrative they spent weeks constructing suddenly collapse. You could almost see the mental gymnastics happening in real time. What do I say? What do I do? How do I spin this? Every movement, every stammered word, screamed one undeniable truth. Erika was cornered, and she knew it. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance remained unmoved. Calm, collected, and almost surgically precise in his demeanor, he knew exactly what he was doing. His team had spent weeks, possibly months, tracking every inconsistency in Erika's timeline, every hidden interaction with Mikey, every public appearance that didn't line up with the narrative she was selling to the world. And now, in front of cameras, witnesses, and a judge who had seen enough courtroom drama to last a lifetime, JD was putting all that preparation into motion. The demand for a DNA test wasn't just about proving paternity, it was about controlling the narrative. It was about demonstrating, in the clearest possible terms, that manipulation, deception, and public sympathy would not hold against truth, evidence, and procedure. But let's zoom out for a second. The fallout outside the courtroom was instant, unrelenting, and, frankly, merciless. Social media platforms lit up like fireworks on New Year's Eve. Every clip of Erika's panic, every subtle glance at JD, every trembling hand became content for thousands of faceless commentators, celebrity gossip channels, and viral TikTok analysts. Did you see her reaction when Mikey's name was mentioned? One comment read, "She knew." She panicked. "There's no other explanation," another declared. Hashtags like #ErikaMeltdown, #Mikey McCoy, and #JD Vance DNA trended worldwide, while gossip threads on forums expanded into sprawling, obsessive investigations of Erika's life. Nothing escaped scrutiny. Every social media post, every archived video, every innocent check-in was analyzed, timestamped, and cross-referenced by an army of online sleuths. If there were ever a time to understand the terrifying power of public obsession combined with viral content, this was it. Inside the courtroom, the tension kept escalating. Erika's attempts to regain composure failed spectacularly. Her speech faltered. Words came out broken, phrases repeated, sentences left unfinished. Even when she tried to invoke sympathy, mentioning grief, loss, and supposed Miracles. The courtroom didn't react with pity. Instead, every subtle tremor, every hesitation, every glance at JD's unflinching face reinforced the growing narrative. Something wasn't right. It wasn't grief. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't even shock. It was fear. Fear of exposure. Fear of truth. Fear that everything she had built was about to unravel in front of millions. And the whispers about Mikey McCoy weren't idle speculation anymore. Sources claiming insider access to Erika's private communications began to surface. Screenshots, deleted messages, photos from private events. Each one painted a picture of interactions between Erika and Mikey that coincided precisely with the conception timeline she had attributed to JD. Late-night encounters, cryptic text exchanges, and subtle social media tags created a trail almost too obvious to ignore. Faceless journalists, social media investigators, and gossip channels started piecing together the puzzle in real time. And as each new detail emerged, Erika's carefully constructed facade began to crack even further. Public perception, always a volatile variable, shifted from sympathy to suspicion, from intrigue to disbelief. The narrative Erika had tried to own was slipping through her fingers like sand, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could stop it. At the same time, JD Vance's approach was methodical, almost surgical. His team didn't just focus on proving paternity. They aimed to expose every layer of deception, every discrepancy, every exaggeration, and every omission in Erika's story. Documents were submitted. Timestamps were verified. Witness accounts were corroborated. Every piece of evidence was cross-checked, validated, and then strategically deployed. The courtroom became a theater of tension, a battleground for public perception, and a chessboard of legal maneuvering. And JD? Unflinching, controlled, and calculated, like a general leading a campaign that had been months in the making. Meanwhile, Erika's panic was reaching unprecedented levels. Security personnel had to intervene multiple times just to keep her from collapsing completely. Observers reported that she was hyperventilating, shaking, and unable to focus on even the simplest instructions from her attorney. Each moment reinforced the narrative that had already begun to dominate social media. Erika was trapped. The web of her own making had ensnared her, and now the entire world was watching as it tightened. And the irony wasn't lost on anyone. The very story that had been designed to generate sympathy and admiration was now the source of her humiliation, panic, and public scrutiny. But if you thought the drama was confined to Erika's performance, think again. The legal strategy employed by JD and his team was a spectacle in itself. Temporary restraints on travel, immediate DNA preservation requests, and procedural maneuvers that seemed mundane to the untrained eye were actually tactical masterstrokes. Each move was designed to prevent any manipulation, concealment, or sabotage of evidence. JD wasn't just protecting himself. He was taking control of a situation that could have spiraled completely out of control. And the courtroom? Observers noted a shift in atmosphere. What had started as chaos and confusion slowly transformed into an almost palpable anticipation. The moment of truth, the DNA test, the exposure of timelines, the potential revelation of Mikey's involvement was no longer a distant threat. It was imminent. Outside the courtroom, chaos reigned. Reporters clashed for the best angles, fans and trolls dissected every video frame, and social media users scrambled to uncover any shred of information that could add context to the scandal. Every rumor, every anonymous tip, every digital breadcrumb became fuel for the narrative fire. Clips of Erika stumbling out of the courtroom, photographers capturing her tears, and speculators analyzing her body language flooded timelines, creating a feedback loop that escalated the scandal with exponential speed. Faceless journalists published instant analyses, drawing wild conclusions, while online sleuths dug through archival footage and social media histories, attempting to reconstruct the timeline of events that had led to this explosive confrontation. Meanwhile, Mikey McCoy's looming presence, summoned but not yet publicly appearing, added an extra layer of tension. Social media exploded with conjecture. Would he confirm suspicions? Would he deny everything? Would the DNA test finally reveal the truth? Every comment, every speculation, every meme created an air of anticipation, so thick you could cut it with a knife. Erika's panic, JD's calm, and the invisible yet omnipresent threat of Mikey formed a trifecta of drama that kept the world glued to every update, every clip, every whispered report. It was a digital frenzy, a courtroom thriller, and a celebrity scandal rolled into one, and the public couldn't get enough. And as the hours passed, the momentum only grew. Every new leak, every new revelation, every new analysis by faceless journalists, anonymous sources, and social media influencers pushed Erika further into a corner and JD further into the role of calculated strategist. The suspense wasn't just palpable, it was consuming. And while Erika struggled to maintain control, the world watched with a mixture of fascination, judgment, and morbid curiosity. Every twitch, every stammer, every tear was broadcast, scrutinized, and viralized in minutes. The internet was not just watching, it was participating, dissecting, and amplifying the story in ways that could have never been anticipated. By the end of Part 2, the stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. Evidence had been leaked, reactions had been documented, social media was ablaze, and the anticipation of the DNA results had reached fever pitch. Erika's panic had become a public spectacle. JD's strategy had become the narrative itself. And Mikey McCoy's involvement, the once mysterious shadow in the story, was now poised to emerge into the light. Part 3 would take everything from chaos to culmination, exposing the final truths, detonating the scandal completely, and revealing consequences that no one, Erika, JD, Mikey, or the public, would ever forget. Part 3 begins exactly where Part 2 left off, with the courtroom tension at a boiling point and the public hanging on every detail. The DNA test was no longer just a possibility, it was imminent, and everyone knew it. Erika Kirk sat frozen, her panic now bordering on paralysis. Her lawyer whispered instructions, but the words seemed to bounce off a wall of disbelief and dread. Every eye in the courtroom was fixed on her, cameras zoomed in on her trembling hands, and the collective expectation of the audience, both in the room and online, was suffocating. The air was thick with anticipation, because this wasn't just about a contested paternity claim. This was a collision of lies, timelines, and reputations that could literally explode at any moment. And the tension wasn't contained to the courthouse. Outside, the world was watching, scrolling, and speculating in real time. Let's rewind for a second. JD Vance's calculated courtroom composure had become a blueprint in viral gossip circles for how to handle public manipulation. No flinching, no emotion, only cold precision. Every motion, every request for DNA preservation, every procedural step had been executed with the clarity of a general anticipating the enemy's move. And the enemy, in this case, was Erika's own narrative, a story meticulously crafted, rehearsed, and shared for maximum public sympathy. But when timelines collided with evidence, the facade shattered. Every lie, every obfuscation, every carefully curated miracle moment was now under microscope-level scrutiny. And here's the kicker. The audience could feel it. Social media platforms erupted, hashtags trended globally, and snippets of courtroom drama circulated faster than breaking news. Erika knew. One viral tweet read. She panicked. She couldn't keep it together. JD called her bluff. The collective digital audience became a living, breathing jury of their own, dissecting the drama with relentless energy. Then came the bombshell moment, Mikey McCoy's entrance into the narrative. The courtroom had been buzzing with speculation, whispers, and gasps as his name was repeatedly invoked. Observers claimed that Erika's reactions were immediate. Wide eyes, a stiffened posture, a tremor in her voice, all unmistakable signals of recognition, guilt, and fear. Every camera angle captured it. Every witness described it. And the internet exploded. Clips of Erika's response to Mikey's name were dissected, memes were made, theories multiplied, and the digital frenzy reached a fever pitch. People were not just commenting, they were constructing timelines, analyzing posts, and comparing every interaction between Erika and Mikey down to the hour. The courtroom drama had metastasized into a worldwide spectacle, and no PR team could contain it. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance continued to operate like a master strategist. His requests were precise: immediate DNA preservation, temporary restraints on travel, and legal motions that ensured no tampering could occur. To the casual observer, it might have seemed procedural, but in reality, it was a direct message. The narrative Erika had tried to control was over. Every move reinforced the certainty that scientific evidence, not social media spin, not emotional appeal, not rehearsed speeches, would dictate the truth. And Erika knew it. The fear, the panic, the trembling, it wasn't over the courtroom. It was over the exposure of the lies she had built her public story around. Outside, the chaos mirrored the tension inside. Reporters swarmed, flashes exploded, microphones were shoved forward, and speculation ran wild. "Is Mikey the father?" shouted one reporter. "Will Erika's story finally crumble?" asked another. Fans and trolls alike devoured every detail, every movement, every sound. The narrative had escaped the confines of the courtroom and become a viral storm, trending across platforms, dissected by influencers, and turned into clickbait by the thousands. Erika's meltdown, once private, had now entered the public consciousness as a spectacle, a cautionary tale, and a full-blown viral scandal. But the courtroom drama wasn't done. The judge called for calm as the DNA test procedure was outlined. Observers noted Erika's body language: shoulders slumped, hands clutching her purse, eyes avoiding direct gaze, lips parted in shallow, anxious breaths. This was no longer grief. This was no longer confusion. This was panic that spoke louder than any word could. Every detail of her behavior confirmed what social media was already theorizing. The timeline didn't add up, and Mikey McCoy's involvement was more than just a rumor. Meanwhile, J.D. remained composed, serene, and unflinching, a silent testament to preparation meeting opportunity. The contrast couldn't have been starker. Erika spiraling, J.D. calculating, and the world watching every heartbeat of the scandal unfold. As the DNA collection proceeded, whispers in the courtroom confirmed that Erika's panic had shifted from emotional to tactical. Every stumble, every falter, every tear sent signals to observers and investigators alike: fear of exposure. Meanwhile, J.D.'s legal team exchanged subtle looks, sharing the quiet satisfaction that months of preparation were finally paying off. Every piece of evidence, every screenshot, every timestamp lined up perfectly with what social media sleuths had already started to uncover. It was a masterclass in combining legal precision, public perception, and viral sensationalism. Then came the outside the courtroom spectacle. As Erika exited briefly to catch a breath, photographers captured her every move. Knees buckling, mascara running, hands clutching her stomach. The imagery became instant content, viral clips shared and reshared, further amplifying the scandal. Observers noted the intensity of the public's reaction. This wasn't just celebrity gossip. This was a spectacle of panic, exposure, and accountability, all rolled into one. Meanwhile, Mikey McCoy's presence, though distant and elusive, added layers of intrigue. Was he innocent? Complicit? Willing to come forward? Each possibility added fuel to the fire, keeping public attention fixated and speculation at fever pitch. Back inside, the final steps before testing revealed more cracks in Erika's public persona. Her lawyer attempted to regain control, instructing her on damage mitigation, but Erika's mind was elsewhere. The thought loops were relentless. Timelines, messages, interactions, public perception. Every detail that had previously been hidden or misrepresented was now under scrutiny. And as the DNA samples were finally secured, the courtroom atmosphere shifted from chaos to an almost palpable tension, a collective breath held in anticipation of the results that could shatter reputations and redefine narratives in a single stroke. Then, as the final motions were filed, the room collectively recognized the inevitability. The truth would come out. Every flinch, every hesitation, every trembling gesture of Erika had already communicated more than any speech could. And the courtroom's reaction, mirrored by social media's instantaneous feedback, underscored the enormity of the moment. This wasn't just a personal scandal, it was a public spectacle, a viral event, a social media frenzy that transcended conventional gossip. Faceless journalists, anonymous sources, and online investigators continued to build the narrative in real time, piecing together interactions and coincidences that painted a picture far more explosive than anyone had anticipated. Finally, as the legal proceedings adjourned for the day, Erika was escorted out under security protection, the weight of public attention pressing down like a tangible force. Every step, every breath, every glance was observed, captured, and amplified. JD exited separately, calm and unflinching, his team coordinating quietly, strategically, ensuring that the legal foundation for truth remained untouchable. And Mikey McCoy, lurking in the background, became the shadowy pivot point, the single variable that could either confirm or completely upend the entire scandal. At this point, the world had fully grasped the stakes. Timelines, relationships, social perception, and viral exposure were all converging toward a single moment: the release of the DNA results. Everyone involved, from Erika to JD to Mikey, was now part of a story larger than themselves. And as the hours ticked by, speculation reached unprecedented levels. Social media erupted with theories, commentary, and reactions that blurred the lines between fact and entertainment. Every leak, every rumor, every observation was magnified, shared, and debated by millions. The scandal had become a living, breathing entity, consuming attention, headlines, and public imagination alike. And now, the final act is approaching. The DNA test, meticulously prepared, legally secured, scientifically unassailable, will soon reveal the truth. Erika's narrative, social media spin, and public deception will be laid bare. JD's calculated patience and legal precision will meet the final proof, and Mikey McCoy's hidden role, once a whisper, now a central point, will be thrust into the spotlight. The implications are staggering. Reputation, narrative control, public perception, and personal relationships hang by a single thread. And as the world waits, the tension is electric, palpable, and impossible to ignore. So, here's the ultimate takeaway. The stage is set, the evidence is ready, and the digital world is watching. The climax of this scandal isn't just about paternity. It's about truth, deception, strategy, and exposure. It's about the power of evidence over narrative, of patience over panic, and of calculated precision over emotional theatrics. The DNA results are more than just a number. They are the final detonator in a scandal that has captured the attention of millions. And when that detonation happens, there will be no spin, no excuses, no narrative control left. Only truth, exposure, and consequences that cannot be ignored. And there you have it. The stage is set, the players are in place, and the countdown to truth has begun. Who is the real father? Will Erika's carefully constructed narrative survive the DNA test, or will it implode in front of the world? And what about Mikey McCoy? Innocent bystander or secret key player in a scandal too explosive to ignore? Every second that ticks by brings us closer to revelations that will shock, stun, and leave the internet scrambling for answers. Now, we need to hear from you. What do you think? Was Erika hiding the truth all along, or is there a twist no one saw coming? Could JD's calm strategy actually backfire, or is this the masterstroke of the century? And don't forget Mikey. What role is he really playing behind the scenes? Drop your theories in the comments below, because trust me, this isn't over, and your voice could predict the next viral twist. And if you thought today's courtroom meltdown was insane, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. Turn on that notification bell, because this story is about to explode even further, and you don't want to be the last to know when the DNA results drop. Share this video with your friends, your family, your gossip group chats, anyone who lives for the drama, the twists, and the raw, unfiltered truth of celebrity scandals. This isn't just news. It's a live, unfolding saga. And here, we catch every detail, every reaction, and every revelation as it happens. So stay tuned, stay sharp, and remember, when the truth finally hits, you'll want to be right here, witnessing it in real time. Because one thing's for certain, This scandal is far from over, and the next chapter is going to blow the internet apart.